Multi-gear Exar. Rev 2.
Are you the only one again? What gave it away, man? The fact that I started my stream 3 minutes before I gotta do yours? Yeah, you're the only one. It's been kind of slow. I figure people are busy or don't think they need it or playing other stuff. Five minutes? Or Solstice? Oh, nice. You're juiced? Yeah. Open up the timer. This one's pretty interesting. I'll talk about some of the stuff I always go over. I gotta make a note. I think one of the easiest things to do versus RAM every time, always, is just learning where to burst RAM on reaction. If you can do that, it's pretty good. Like that's a pretty hard argument versus. Alright, so set the timer. Yeah, about the Dara one. Dara one's good. That's like a good starting point. There's a couple others. That's actually one of them. Funny enough, this one's like mixed though. I don't think like this one's like low value, but that's guaranteed when she goes into the triple low. He's gonna jump out. Yeah. I know at a surface level, 2D is very good in this matchup. At just like being kind of a nuisance when she's on the way down, and playing around her big far slash. I would say more often than not, I feel like it's Ram's inconsistency with anti-airing that is what makes it tough for her. Like there are a lot of situations, kind of like this, where when like Soul kind of like moves at her, if you were to like try to air Ram, it's pretty solid because she's not air throwing you. She's probably not gonna get too many punishes like with her anti-airs. It's pretty uncommon. It also means that jumping out of Ram's stuff isn't too bad. That's probably why he did this, if I had to guess. He did this into run up this, and it was probably to try to catch you doing up back JP. Ads? That's fucking funny. That's really funny. I always say it every time because I do mean it. I wish I could remove ads from my channel. I don't actually use the any of the affiliate features that you get from being affiliate. You didn't miss much. All I did was laugh and say that I wish I could just unaffiliate so that I don't get ads all the time. I don't think they run as many ads if you're not an affiliate. I could be wrong though. This is a burst point. Not that it matters in this con. I'll go over them. I'll go over them and show them, but this hit is a burst point when she does this because if you look at Ram combo, she always links the next hit. So that entire time she's doing that, she's in recovery. From here all the way to boom 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 here, she was in recovery. And the idea is like it's less about knowing that like, oh, I gotta burst that move on reaction, and more about whenever he does jab pickups like this, that's the extension. It's always this if they want more combo. Or they have to option select it. Is that like 5 PK or something? Yeah, I believe it's 5 PK. Well, I'll go over them because I should go over them anyway. Like, there's more than just that one, but that's like one of my most common burst points. Because you don't really get hit by Daro as much as people make it sound. Like, it's good to know that Daro burst point, but you get that one like way more, honestly. Boom, boom, right here. Let's see this hit. It always comes up in like random hints. Notice that like this air-to-air situation right here doesn't involve a Daro. He just hit an air-to-air. Or not air-to-air, like a anti-air type of hit. He does 2 hits to confirm it, and he does dash, jab, this move. And then he gets the extension with 5k after, like that. This is also a pretty known burst point, but there's some nuance to it in terms of understanding when you should do it. if he's doing like 5D this close to you, you can see the flash and burst that on reaction, and it will hit him. Otherwise, there are some routes that will space that outside of the range of a burst, and they'll still whiff the 5D and not get a punish. I'm pretty sure, but you'd rather get your burst versus ram. Treks on DP, yeah. This is tough. This is just like one of those where it's like once you see her air dash back like that, you kind of have to keep crouch blocking, because if you ever stand block for any random reason, the slower version of heavy summon, which is this top one up here, S sword is this bottom sword, H sword is the top sword. Not that that like means too much in terms of understanding the matchup, but whenever you block charge like H summon, she can do run up overheads like that. And then the S charge summon like that catches you. If you notice, this didn't actually like really meaty you that much, funny enough. But it would have caught you holding up back. That setup is designed for stuff like that. Yeah. Well, this is basically kind of like the one situation she could anti-air you. But I tell the people the same thing. Like, this anti-air working is more about the fact that any anti-air in the game would work there. Right, if Ram 6P worked, you can basically assume any 6P in the game worked for the most part. She really does have an insanely underwhelming 6P. It does its job when you put it in the right spot, but that spot is very limited. Nice. Oh, it's tough. Yeah, I want the full corner carry. This is tough when he has 50 bar, because he's going to force, yeah. He's just going to force contact. He does a lot of 2S, which I'm assuming is most likely to try to catch jump back air buttons, because normally jump back air buttons are pretty awesome for Soul in this matchup. Round start, jokes aside, I think you can 2D every now and then, and it's like kind of hard to deal with. I would say try 2D round start every now and then. You'll probably catch him overextending and not too much vice versa, unless he like moves forward to call it out. Nice backdash. It's the usual, right? Because like if you far slash here, then like he jumps over it and then lands, I'm assuming, and presses this on top of it. But if you 2D, then you whiff, and then you probably recover in time to maybe even 6P. Right. Yeah. This is tough, by the way, because like this isn't actually guaranteed. This burst was too late. This is not the timing for the Daro. You have to do it sooner than that. See how Solstice is already moving by the time you burst. It means that if he waited and did like a safer pickup, he would have burst waited. The Daro burst is guaranteed, but a lot of learning to burst Ram is learning to recognize the move before the move that you have to burst. That helps a lot. Nice revolver. Hold on. I'm writing something because I got to rewind anyway. I didn't really like watch this round enough anyway, but I was writing something in the notepad. Okay. I was gonna watch it. Knockdown. Safe jump. 6H is tough because he knows that you have to special cancel it. Oh yeah, that route's kind of weird on Ram, man. I don't really like that route. I don't do double Fafnir. I know that you can double Fafnir Ram, but I think of the double Fafnir characters, she's like one of the more tedious ones. Not counting Zato. You can double Fafnir Zato, but that shit is like unreal. It like doesn't exist if you ask me. Yeah, it calls out. This is one of those matchups, by the way, where I talked about it when we talked about Dizzy. It's the same thing. This is a matchup where like if you're gonna tap blitz, you have to tell yourself I tap blitz and DP, or I tap blitz and like just hope they baited DP. But you can't do like tap blitz into regular shit. You have to do like tap blitz DP. That's the only way to get past layers like this. When people do projectiles that do not reject them like this, you usually have to do blitz into DP as like an option rotation. Like the blitz is solid there. It's just you have to be willing to do the RPS afterwards sometimes in order to actually get value out of it. This is guaranteed. No point in bursting. Nice. What did that be? Would that be 5H round start? Oh, 6H. I don't think you should pick 6H round start. I think you should boil it down to // round start, or probably 2D round start, or like jump back button, like JP. What would be my recommendation? Again, see, this is why it's kind of nice to know the other one, by the way. This is what I was saying. Like, everybody and their mother knows you can burst Daro, but look at this sequence. So he gets this mix-up into a combo. He does this hit. He does that sequence. He does microdash jab. This move. This move is burstable. That burst point is a lot more relevant, in my opinion, than the Daro burst point. It comes up a lot more frequently. Faultless defense cancel? Yeah. Yes, this is a good... I'm gonna come back to this, but I think this, as a concept, is very frustrating for her. Because of stuff like that. We'll talk about some stuff with RAM pressure strings and little things like that, too. You aren't in them too much, but I'll cover them a bit. SUD. Oh, a little slow. Nice faultless defense cancel. Ooh, he missed the blitz, I'm assuming. Or thought he was far enough he wouldn't get hit. Backdash? Yeah, that's tough. That's tough. The timing on that was tough. You have to do like a slight delay Fafnir to catch people backdashing there because it's meaty. The gun flame's meaty. So it's like, if I was going to Fafnir, I would do it now instead. Like, I would do the Fafnir right now instead of already being in Fafnir. Nice CPU. Run up super. Oh, you're crazy. Run up super killed. This is actually not that bad. You have a ton of resources. Yeah. I'm going to talk about this situation too a little bit. All the like post corner situations where you're just cornered by Ram. There's kind of like a pattern to a lot of her offense. At least like the way I understand it. Soul with / actually might be pretty annoying to deal with too, if I would imagine for her. Soul with / or just jumping out, it seems like it'd be really annoying. From just like my understanding of Ram. That's a frame trap. This one's funny because it's like, this is a frame trap, like in the situation. Where he does like, so her jab is plus period, like period. Her 4P is like +1, I think. We'll double check. I think it's +1. Right, so it's like plus in the frame trap. And then if you block that, he has one more Rekka he can do, but that one is like insanely minus. So it's like a really corny RPS that sometimes Ram can opt for, but she dies if she's wrong. Ironically enough, you did not need to DP because you got the air blitz. Here, you can air dash out. But I see the vision. I'm actually surprised Volcanic Rever didn't hit. There's that burst point again. Max corner carry. Misses the redash. Cross up? No, he just keeps it safe. Nice. Oh, a little slow. Honestly, you got a lot of hits in this set. You just didn't finish your food. Which is tough. But yeah, so like these situations. I'll talk about ram pressure a little bit too. The situations where you're kind of jailed and like what she's doing and what she's trying to get off of situations. Usually the heavy is more annoying than the S, in my opinion. The heavy summon is a lot more annoying. Yeah. I'll go. Actually, I didn't even look at what you specified, but I figured it was the same as last time. Yeah. Just on defense, yeah. Let me keep the timer open. Just so we have a general, like, pulse on how long this is taking. Wait, get my stick out of my backpack. I forgot I was at the local yesterday. Nobody asked, but I won this time. I managed to redeem myself. Even though nobody asked. I'm glad I didn't have to play a second set, too. I was talking about it. I was cold as fuck playing outside, man. If I had to play a second set in grams, it would have been the end of me. I mean it. Alright. Ah, shit. I didn't put my lever in. Let's go. Yeah. It was one of those where I don't think I had like any. I was like kind of sloppy, but everybody else seemed like they were sloppier than me when I played. All right. Soul bad guy. Yeah. We'll talk about the neutral a little bit. So something to consider is, I've talked about it. How was HOV? It was fun. A good time. It was actually a lot more fun than normal. I don't know why. Everyone was like extra rowdy. It was a great time. I've talked about this before, but something I think is like important to consider is when Ram has her swords, a lot of the times something to remember is that they're really obnoxious, but there's kind of this dead zone. If you notice, like Fire Slash is an awesome ground normal, and this is an awesome button like right in front of her. But if you notice, like let's say she's just like pressing stuff in place a lot in neutral like this. What the heck? You can kind of jump at these more than you would think. I know that seems like kind of unintuitive, but it's like, say you're in like a situation like this. This angle is pretty tough for her, if you notice. Even swords don't really protect her here. You would need something like a good anti-air, which she kind of doesn't have. So Soul is like a notable character because this is amazing. So like, the way I would put it is when you fight an like a standard Ram player, right, you know, like not using Solstice as the example, we'll say, you'll run into Ram players that might do something like jump back S into, can you do this? No, you have to do, yeah, jump back this into that into whatever, right? Pay attention to this summon a lot. Heavy summon is one of those ones where it's like, it's really easy to just see it and go, oh, it's heavy summon, or like they always summon right around now, let me do an air to air. And it's less about like, oh, I want to always do this, and like a better Ram player like Solstice will eventually do stuff like this, where he'll summon this on purpose and then he'll move forward, right? He'll usually summon it and then move forward like this. And so the idea is like, I don't know why the recording is doing it. So he'll summon and then he'll move forward, right? There we go. I don't think I saved it, my bad. Right? He'll summon and he'll move forward like this, and he'll catch you, punishing it like that. A lot of the times, the way I think of it is I want to punch that thing out of the sky so that she can't do this to me. Right? If she does this, it's annoying. Right? She can do like summon. Can you actually do summon? Yeah. So something like this, right? Right, this is like the Ram classic, where it's like summon and a something, right? And that's like, wait, this is cheap. But it's not actually as cheap as you might think. Right. Oh my god, why do I keep doing that? I'm like so used to 2x KO where it saves the replay. That's funny. 2x KO, you don't have to like press it again. I've been labbing too much in 2x KO. Okay, good enough. I remember to press the button. Right, so this situation's annoying, right? And that's kind of why, like, if you think this is coming, then you can like get rid of this summon and then kind of kill this from happening, right? By doing like this and then going around it. That's like Ram level 1, is like beat the swords up so that she can't get shit like this all the time. Hit the swords, get out of the way, run at her, one or the other, right? If he baits it, just take the space. Like if he, or not take the space, but like if something like this happens, where they summon and they want to do something like that to you, right? Because they're like, oh, he's gonna air to air it, so they want to do that. Wow, that's mad good. That's fucked up. She actually just like cannot do this easily. So let's say I do this like a little late, like this. Oh my god, no way. I'm gonna pick a slow normal on purpose. There we go. Now you get hit, now you get knocked down. It seems like Soul Jump Punch is pretty gas though, I'm not gonna lie. I think you maybe never stop pressing this if you see the air summon. But what I was gonna say is if they do stuff like that, you can also backdash this move. This summon like this, and then you can take the space like this. Right, so you would see the summon, you would backdash, and you would fight back like that. I think it's always JP, but just know if you're doing a lot of JP and you seem to be getting hit out of it, you should backdash instead. But pay attention to this summon, because it's like the one they usually kind of throw on top of you lazily. They don't need it. They don't need it as much as the S button, so they tend to get rid of it like a lot more. The S button is a little bit trickier because if you're not like ready to get rid of it, then the S summon is like not in a space where you can hit it on the ground. But a lot of the times it's the same idea. You could just like, if you think he's gonna summon, you can jump JP and then retreat and you'll get around that summon. Other than that, what I was gonna try to emphasize is like when you fight Ram, you should get comfortable doing something like this, right? I said she kind of has a dead zone in her moves, where let's say you get to around this distance, a little closer actually. I've talked about this before with other people. When you dash and you neutral jump, you carry momentum like this, right? I'm not gonna talk about like why this is good. It's good for like a lot of different reasons. But one of the reasons right now is that as I drift into this range, Ram cannot anti-air me unless she does it preemptively, right? She has to anti-air right now because at this distance, this is too fast to react to. With anybody in the game, anybody that does this is too fast to react to, right? So you kind of want to work a couple of those options in because let's say you're dealing with like this on the ground, right? Then this will happen, right? And she's with this button now, and you'll always go over it, like if you're doing stuff like this, right? The range where this would be a problem is like not very likely, like this, right? And you're like, well, what if she does like jump H in place? And it's like, well, as long as you don't commit too hard at the right range, still like this, so I can time it better. Like, let's say you're doing this, it still won't hit you. See? As long as you're kind of, like, casually drifting in, the only thing that would hit you would be, like, her jump S, and it doesn't convert on its own, right? Use this sort of momentum to scare her into focusing on you in the air. Then you can play the ground game a little bit more. But remember that she has a pretty mediocre anti-air, so you can really abuse this. If Ram is being a little too predictable with her summons like this, a soul, I highly recommend trying to anti-air, or trying to air-to-air her. Like this. One of the things that's nice to have versus Ram is just air knockdowns. So that if she's ever being like lazy and you're close by and you're like, yes, he's gonna summon, you can always try to air to at least bully her back down to the ground or get a punish. Soul's really good at just like running up on Ram. Right? The only things you want to think of it as like basically the thing that is gonna stop you is this as Soul. And that's kind of it, honestly. Like it's just this button. Technically, if you know they're going to press this button, then you can even play around it, right? Like, let's say you're in this range. You can do preemptive 2D like that. And I think you recover first. Yeah, it looks like. Or at least about the same, right? So, like... I'm assuming. Oh, does he not do it? Oh, I didn't save it. Goddamn, I keep forgetting. There you go. Yeah, we're like about the same. It looks like I recover faster. Like if she's mashing her fastest reach and button like this, right? Then you can just do... I'm not even fucking around with you because it's like he has to punish that. He has to think about it. And it's like you can do this and you'd be faster. Right? So if you ever have a moment where you guys are like ships in the night and you do a 2D low profile, but it didn't hit him, as long as you timed it kind of right, you should almost certainly be fast enough that your // will win the next time. Like you low profile and then you just go into yours like that. And it's something he has to play around and consider. He has to start to like pay attention to that. Right? But again, like even still, like if you get the timing right, like this is her main thing to stop you, you'll get a 2D. But even still, right, like you can get around it by doing that. You can get around it by just trying to get into a range like this. Right? This is her main button. Everything else, it would be something like this, which will lose to your pokes, right? And then this button, you want to learn if you're playing neutral with this button. If she doesn't hit you crouching or counter hit, this button does not combo into anything unless he RCs. So you can actually still continue to pay attention to what Ram's gonna do, because you don't want Ram to do things like this to you. Let's say she gets a hit in neutral, they're gonna do something corny like this, and you don't want them to get that for free. Like this, that's not actually true. But a lot of people will get hit by this running in, panic, and then freeze, and you'll get caught here. If you notice. I think they use S sword here, actually, funny enough. I'm just saying. Right, but does that make sense? Of like, this is her strongest thing you're playing around in neutral, and even when it hits you standing or regular hit, it doesn't lead to anything. She kind of has to do... Her safest thing is this, so that if you move forward, it stuffs you like that. But without Roman canceling into like an RRC, or more likely a YRC, like before it comes out, she doesn't get anything here. You just eat a fireball for 10 damage. Right? And you can probably still 2D the fireball. Not that that matters, but you get the point. Like, the fireball is kind of like the one thing. And I think if you did this, nah, it's still safe. But this is her only way to keep you safe. And it gives up her offense, right? That's like, you were going in to do your stuff, and then you blocked the // and she pushed you back out. And it's like, okay, let me do it again. right? But you don't want her to do stuff like this to you. Yeah, I think it is off forward slash, right? So if you're playing neutral with her and she does something like this. Oh my god. She's such a weird character to control. Okay, that should be it. Yeah. Like this. Far slash meter gain is no joke. Yeah, but that's more like... It's not so bad, Bonjern, because it's like... You gotta get duffed by a lot of them. You're right. I'm not trying to downplay it. It is a lot of meter. You actually gain like a pretty good amount of meter. Not on far slash. On the Rekka cancels. Because she can do those, I believe. You do this off of a far slash hit. I think on regular hit you can still get it. Let me see. Yeah. So these are the ones. Like far slash is cool. Builds like almost 25 bar on the hit. I still think the fact that you don't convert is a really big deal. Like I said, it's more about knowing, like, if you see them doing stuff like this, it's not real. Like, even on hit, like, let's say you're running forward and you get hit like this, I can still disrespect this. That's not real. If she does stuff like this into this into this, it's still not real, I think. It just depends. Like, if you get hit by this into this into this, then it's, I think, 2D'able. Let me see. And you trade. You get a meaty. Right? Yeah, I'm not trying to like hyper focus on one thing, but a lot of it is try to do a lot of air to ground approaches as a level 1 to Ram. And if she starts focusing on that, then you can play a footsies game, and the only thing you're really worried about a lot is far slash. And pay attention to what Rams are doing after the far slash, because it's not actually true. Like when they're jumping out, when they're doing a summon into something, like even if you get hit by this, for example, like the one I was just talking about, you can do, like, let's say I get hit for whatever reason, like this. I can still hold up out of that, because I know she's not going to Roman cancel, so I can just get out. Even on hit, like, even as I'm getting hit. I do this with anybody when I fight Ram. It's just like, oh, I'd rather get out here. Like, by the time you realize what's happening, you're like, no, thank you. And she has to do stuff like this to stop it. And that's not, like, this is not that good. If she does like this, where she tries to catch your jump out, it's not that great either. So it's like you're kind of just worried about far slash, and that's mostly it. And what she's canceling into it. Like I said, she can go into her sword summons off of it, so she can do things like this if you're not paying attention, right? Do far slash this, that, and then I think, like, let's say you're cornered and she does something like this. So then she'll make this next option that's normally unsafe safe by having the sword summon, right? Don't worry about it too much. There's obviously a lot that goes into the neutral, but your 2D is good. Your JP seems amazing. It seems like this is just always good to air swords with, and air to air her with, by the way. Anytime you're kind of in this mid-range versus Ram, if you do something like this, she kind of has to like air throw you to deal with it. And let's say you get the actual air to air, then you're good. But you can do this, you can go over her like that, you can retreat, you can commit to the cross up JK if you think they're not going to do anything, right? It's very hard for her to anti-air here without committing to air throw. She's not good at it. As far as pressure goes, so there, it's actually, let's talk about burst points really quick. This is a burst point. If Ram ever hits you and you start seeing her do her little barrel roll like this off the low, you can burst this and she cannot block it. This one's like low value. I only do this when I'm like really desperate. Like really desperate. Like I just need the burst. Because the Okazeme isn't good after it. It doesn't lead to much even if they Roman cancel it. It's not a good hit, but it's nice to know this is burst safe. The one that's a lot more common is actually something like this, right? Let's say I get a hit like this. As Ram. And I do, I believe it's like, let me see. Let me just do like an easy one. Yeah, I think this should work. Right? So like this is the sequence I'm talking about. A lot of air juggles lead to this. And you have a lot of time to prepare because once you see her standing jab, she's more likely than not going to do this for the juggle afterwards. You can do it on the ground too, actually, by the way. I didn't note it, but like I'm gonna do, let's say he gets a hit like this. Oh my god, Ram's so weird. You have to like, there you go. Okay, I got it. So I'm holding back the whole time, like after this, as Ram, right? Like you can see, like after I do it, she's walking back, right? Even if you get hit on the ground, once you see that move hit you, and it's usually once he jabs you, pay attention, because that's probably what's going to happen with Rams. Once you see that move, you just match burst. You can do it kind of late too, like this, and you'll still get it. Like, oh man, maybe it is instant. Yeah. Yeah, I take this burst all the time. Once she jabs me, it's like I'm waiting for that move. And then once I see that move, I take the burst. Same thing when you get bursted in the air. It's a very good burst point. You get it a lot more than you would think versus Ram. If you seem like you're really high up in the air when she's doing this, you might need to reconsider it. Sometimes you might be like too high and that's a little iffy, but 99% of the time it's fine. That's a good burst point. Everybody knows about Daro. If she hits you with something like this, or she does like whatever sequence, I think it's, yeah. So like, let's say she hits something like this. She wall splats you. If she's close to you, like if close slash is what makes you slump down, you can always burst 5D on reaction. Once you see the close slash, you know that he's either gonna 5D or sweep. And if he sweeps, that's pretty safe to burst, but is less damage. And if he 5Ds, then you can see the yellow flash and react to it. You can go like, okay, let me see. Right? And so now if you're in this situation, you're waiting. Once you see this flash, it's guaranteed. You can get it every time. Those are like the main ones. She has more than that, actually, by the way. Like, I'm sure I can think of more. There are more situations that she is guaranteed burstable. But those are like the most common. The 5D wall splat when she's close. The juggle is huge. The 5P K string, you get hit by that like all the time when you're fighting Ram. And don't overcomplicate your burst versus Ram. If you get hit early on and it turns into the corner carry combo where she does that juggle, just burst it, man. Like, she will give it back to you. Don't worry about it. Ram's whole thing is that if she can get you into the corner, she's like no longer as bad of a character as everybody thinks she is. Like, she's way better when you get her there. Right? The last thing I'll talk about a little bit is just like her pressure strings, right? So, I mean, normal pressure is like not a big deal, usually versus Ram is the way I would put it. So like strings like this are minus, but if he does, I think it's back kick. Yeah. Right. So like, let's say you're like, oh, this is minus and you press a button, like you fuzzy jab here. I gotta do it like really late. No, it's too fast still. There you go, like that. Right, that's a frame trap. He gets you like every day of the week. If they don't have beater, this is like your best punish ever. Like, you can do whatever your best punish is. And like, yeah, I think it's a punish still. You can also throw here. I need to do this more, actually. It's just hard to get. But you can do like delayed throw here and it's like pretty alright. But that's not the point. A lot of her jab stuff is like whatever. Just remember that this button is plus on block. A lot of Ram players that are better will do this to you. Because it's just plus. It's an easy frame trap. It's an easy hit confirm. You press close slash, it hits them. You press 2D Daro. And like, that's usually the hit confirm, right? If you're a Ram player, you just do this. Boom. Then you're good, right? So, like that. They get a full combo, right? So if you block jab, you can DP it. You can check them every now and then. Make them keep their strings honest. She's not good at staggering lows a ton. So it's hard for her to like consistently bait DPs without doing stuff like that. And that's punishable if she does that, right? So like, after a lot of her pressure will always kind of start with the jab into a check. Eventually you might show them that they should be more careful, but something you have to remember is that Ram cannot Gatling, right? So like, it's not that they're doing jab close slash because they're like, oh, let me just always frame trap, even though that's like what's good about it too. It's that she can't do punch into slash. It doesn't exist for Ram. She has to link these. She's like, hey, see? So like, I can't do kick into slash. Her punches and her kicks are not tied to her slashes at all, right? A lot of people know that. But when you think about it defensively, it means that she's a lot more limited. It means that she kind of has to like leave gaps in her strings like this, if you really think about it, right? And she can play around it like different ways by doing like jab, jab, delay into like, I think you can do, damn, that's really hard to get. Where you recover like that. And then you can try to frame trap with 5K. It's easier said than done. But you want to pay attention to the staggers. And if you're cornered, a lot of learning to defend Ram is just, let's say you're here and you're fighting Ram. A lot of what I do is just kind of wait it out. She's always going to do run up jab and then try to frame trap. And if you want to try something there, that's a good point to start. But the other thing I was going to say is that when she gets to something like a slash button, right? Like let's say she does the big sword, or maybe she doesn't have the big sword, so she just does jab into close slash into something. She has to start special canceling or jumping. She does not have pressure extensions after that, right? She has good cancels, so I'll show you an example, right? Like let's say she summons like this. Summons both her swords. She runs up and she does this, right? She can do, it's kind of tricky to record, but let me see. Right, you can summon, I guess I would summon H sword there, right? But like let's say you're like, I know how Ram works, so I'm gonna do whatever, like I'm just gonna wait her out. She does this to you. These are the things that are important to remember, right? It's always like she starts with her jab and that's cool, but more importantly she pushes out into like close slash or 2D or one of those two, and more likely than not she's either gonna jump and cancel, or she's going to just cancel raw off the ground into one of these summons like this, right? If you were to say press a button in place, it does not work as a lot of characters because she's jumping out of the way and then you're getting hit. If you think she's gonna jump into a summon, you should jump. Like you should just jump the moment that she jumps her close slash here or her 2D. You need to be preemptive versus a character like Ram. It'll force her to not leave the ground, right? Because the situation, if you block it, is way too good for Ram. Think about this. If you block this sequence, you have to deal with this. All right. Oh, I missed the super jump. Let's see. Oh my god, I'm not a Ram player. Ah, I can't do it. The point is, if you block this and she summons like that, she can air dash after the super jump. So you block that sword and she does an air dash mix up to you. Then she lands and she picks a ground string, and then now she does something like button jab S sword like that, right? Every time she gets to her slash button, it's a lot like I said in the middle of the screen, where it's like you kind of have to be ready for if she's gonna jump, if she's gonna immediate cancel and like check her. Something like this is not real. So like if they do something like this to you, that's not real. Soul's far slash is awesome for stuff like this. It's part of the reason I think it is obnoxious for a character like her to deal with him. Let me get the sword summon like this. Right? Like this is a frame trap. Normally. Not normally. It is a frame trap, my bad. In the S summon, and then that's a frame trap, right? If I mash here, I'm cooked. Right? Oh my god, maybe not a soul. Yeah, so that looks pretty good. Far slash looks pretty good. I would try it more. Usually you'll get frame trapped if you're not like super ready there. The thing I was going to mention is it turns into the mid-screen thing where it's like she has an option. She can do this. And if you're a monkey and you mash, like let's say you're in this situation, you're like, you know what? I'm going to mash. I don't think he's going to do it. So he does, we'll do it like this because I can do it like this in this situation. Let's say you're like, I know he's going to do whatever here. So you mash, then he gets a full combo, right? This is what keeps you in check from just always pressing buttons versus Ram. It's like something simple like Fireball YRC. But if you block Fireball YRC, this shit does nothing for her. Like it has no block stun. She can't like jump into a mix-up. She can't do whatever. If she starts setting up, you can probably mash far slash after it. Right? But pay attention to that. If you do block the mix-up, she's going to do some button, probably close slash, and then she's either jumping and summoning or raw summoning. And there's a couple different ways you can deal with it. H is like whatever. If she does the H one, a lot of the times like just jumping forward. Both of these kind of lose to you like jumping out of them a lot of the times. If you jump forward like this. I think even heavy summon has that problem also. Right, like if I do this. Yeah, this one's still kind of shitty because you can jump versus it. Jumping is pretty good, but essentially you just treat these as like frame traps that she controls like this. So like if she does something like this, you can blitz it and then press like a button and you'll be faster than her sometimes. Or you can blitz it and you can DP, or you can blitz it and you can backdash. The swords are always her actual pressure extensions and frame traps. So all of it is learning to interact with them. Don't worry about like the early stuff or when she's like just mashing shit in your face. Wait for her to do fake things like summon, right? Like very briefly, since you're the only one anyway, we'll add we'll like do a rerun of the VOD, and we'll just talk about it. I'm gonna talk about the pressure anytime it comes up. We'll skip through anything that's like not you getting pressure, and we'll just talk about it. right? So this is kind of what I was talking about, by the way. Now that we've like talked about some of the stuff. So this angle, the JP, see how it still clashes when he tries to air you? The 6P would not have worked for him, right? Air approaches are good. You can take that burst point if you want, but it's not that great. The knockdown. I'm gonna skip around and see like whenever Solstice gets a good hit and maybe some pressure. Right, so look at this, right? Neutral stuff, far slash, summon, run up, right? If you think he's gonna far slash summon in place like that, you can do micro dash far slash and it will catch it. He has to call that out like a different way than this, right? But now you block this, the next sword makes you block that, he runs up, he's probably gonna jump or summon, right? Or stagger like that, right? One or the other. But if you notice, it's always just like centered around far slash. Like I said, I think the 2S is for catching you jumping, because usually jumping is a pretty free option for Soul versus Ram. Right? Pressure sequence. Oh, I forgot he had super. Let's see. Missing overhead hits. How did this not continue? Oh, because burst. Anti-air. Knockdown. Knockdown. Let's see. So again, like you're fighting Solstice. Does a couple buttons. Far slash. Fireball. Right? It's just the safest thing. He doesn't want to interact with you. He doesn't want to overextend. Fireball is safe, but it's a little minus, I think. So he's just kind of like zoning you out, and it's not really doing anything for him. In a range where you have better options. Also, I think it happened, right? If you 2D like this, I think you can press far slash on the first one. You might win. Right? Far slash, summon, jump, tries to air you. He thought you were going to jump. He thought you were going to hold up back. So he does far slash, H summon, jump forward, S. Right? But you see what I mean about like if you have a general grip on what he's doing, if you think he's going to do this, you can just backdash and probably press 5k and he'll land into you. After, you have to do it right when you block far slash. Right when you block far slash, you're like, you know what? I'll just backdash. You backdash, he would jump into you, you would press 5k. And you would get it. Alright, this is like an interaction where like the next time you play the matchup, just pay attention to like all these little things. It looks like this when you get like interactions like that. See? Button, summons, goes for the air to air, then he gets hit. Right? You always want to like be tapped into these interactions versus Ram, because that is usually what defense involves, right? Daro burst point, but a little late. Take the knockdown. That was a good run up to block the revolver closer. This is the situation I was talking about, where if you ever see, for the most part, if you guys ever low profile trade like this, where like you low profile, he was far slash, I'm almost positive Soul just gets to press far slash after. He just is faster in the distance. Where it's like, I think you can dead ass just do that until he either starts like blitzing in place or backdashing every time, right? But you can do that to like any Ram that doesn't really know. Airhead, mix. I want to see like anything that doesn't kill, potentially. Round start meter, cross up, round start. This would be the burst point right here. Let's see, you'd get your burst really early versus Ram. You would have only lost like 25%. She also still hasn't really gained that much meter yet because she didn't use that many swords in the hit yet. So this alone would stop a lot of momentum, right? So button, summon, block the summon. He's gonna do a button. I forgot heavy slash reaches. Button, recall, wait you out to see what you do. Far slash, gets a little awkward. I forgot she can do that. That's safe though. Air to air. Again, air to airs I think are just really strong versus Ram. It's really hard for her to contest air to airs like this from Soul because he can just retreat at that point if he doesn't hit you. The way I would put it is like, if you know how to burst Ram Ob, you can run at her a lot because you no longer are worried about like, well, what if she hits me? Because you always get at least one freebie. Nice faultless defense cancel. Probably gonna jump. That was a good 2D. This is the thing. Damn, that reached word. That's what I was talking about, by the way. It all happens really fast, so it's hard to see it. But look at far slash, summon, slide. Sword's gonna keep it safe because he used the same sword that he just got rid of. Then he's gonna do a pressure extension. Once he's here, he actually has no decent cancel options anymore because he does not have swords next to you. So if he cancels, I think DP is guaranteed here if he doesn't just block after 5H. Because apparently DP reaches far enough to hit Fireball and he can't sword summon. The way sword summons work is they're only fast if the swords are already on top of people. right? If you notice, the reason that this worked is because he summons, presses something to buy time, then the sword hits you. The sword has to kind of like come out and do the little startup if it's not already on top of you, right? Because it has to teleport to that spot and then do the hit. Hey, what's up, Ray? Thanks for the raid. Right? That it's like, Ram actually has pretty underwhelming pressure, especially into some matchups. You just have to really understand and pay attention to like the weaknesses of it. And like how frequently she actually has to like leave a gap to interact with you for stuff. Oh, I guess jab beats. Yeah, 2D seems like it's probably not that bad then. 2D doesn't seem like it gets punished at round start. And it might catch some stuff. Jab beating far slash is funny though. I wonder if you can just I would just delay your far slash every now and then. Like just press it slower. Don't stop pressing far slash, you just press far slash a little later. And you'll catch stuff like that. That is a burst point, but you have to be faster on it. Like right here, you can burst. It's pretty close though. I probably wouldn't burst there either. It's just too hard to react that fast. That was a good dash under. I think things get kind of scrambly really fast here. Let's call on wake up, gets the knockdown. Yeah, he kind of has to respect DP there. Right, so he uses the fireball. He's probably like mostly trying to chip you out, but you'll notice 2D jump summon catches your jump out. If you jump at him here, you got him, right? It's things like that. It's understanding that like generally speaking, just up forward versus ram, like up forward into holding back so you block on the way up obviously, is like pretty good versus ram because it'll let you jump out of situations like this more consistently and potentially air to air her. And this is why I was saying it feels shitty to not be preemptive here, because if he calls you out and let's say you jump like back and you jump into a sword summon like this, he air dashes in for the pressure reset, then you block. And like if you block this, because remember I told you he does they tend jab into close slash as a frame trap, so he just pressures you down. He does raw frame traps with close slash word, close slashes. But even if you blocked here, he would have summoned like this. See, that's cool. I didn't know that combos on crouching counter hit. Right, but does that make sense? There's like a pattern to how she chains her offense because she always needs to go into special cancels really early. She can't actually extend her pressure in any way, and then if she realizes that you're gambling a lot versus her, then she'll have to fireball. And the fireball's pretty whatever. He really has to like catch you for that shit to amount to a lot. But yeah, not to be a broken record of it. Essentially, to like properly summarize, it's basically like air to ground approaches are pretty annoying for Ram, specifically if you drift into them like this. Air to airs are good versus Ram. Jump punch is awesome versus her air summons. Kind of no matter what it seems, but don't be too predictable. Anytime you're playing the actual ground neutral, this button is annoying, but this button doesn't really do anything unless it hits you in the right way. So they're either going to do this into nothing or this into summon, and being preemptive tends to beat things like this. Even far slash into far slash is like not real. This move is very minus. It's just like a psychological thing where people are like, I don't want to gamble, but like that's ridiculously minus. If you ran forward and pressed far slash, you would still win. Like that. Right? And like it's pretty hard for you to get directly punished for just engaging there. Like I said, he has to fireball. I would keep those things in mind, especially in the corner when you do survive the mix-up, because in the corner both of the swords never have to move again. They're always right on top of you, so they never teleport anymore. That's why the startup is instant. That's why when I do this, it's instant, because it doesn't have to move towards you like it does right here. See? It takes actual extra time. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't want to ramble more. It seems like I got the point across this time. I'll cut it right here. I'm gonna stream some other stuff. I might actually play a little bit of Exerd. I'm gonna cut the VOD here though. You also just reminded me. Well, the VOD review reminded me I haven't uploaded last week's. So I gotta upload not last week's last VOD review. But I'm gonna cut it here so I can just not have to edit the VOD. But yeah, anybody that doesn't already know that's lurking, I do bi-weekly VOD reviews. I should make a command. I'll just make a command for the next time. All you gotta know is I post it on bluesky. If you're not on bluesky, tough luck. Get on bluesky. It's on @BikeandPlayer. Look at it every other Monday-ish, and you'll see me post the Google form, and it's free to submit. I wouldn't charge people money for that kind of thing. Come through if you're interested. Let me kill the VOD though, and then I'll restart.